Should we screen out the wisest and the best, the heroes, the most honest, and those with the most heart, so that individuals and groups can look good, so that we can further white supremacy, and every group that has found its niche or place, every entity that has compromised its integrity, produces members consistently that look good? In this video, I will give you the opposition view, and I'll also give you my view. I won't just give you the stated media nonsense. I will tell you the actual philosophy that they have. Their philosophy goes something like this. We live in a country of over 300 million people, and we have to make certain compromises so that we can all get along. There are many hate groups that have made their presence known strategically and otherwise, so that they would have a seat at the table, so to speak. You have immigrant groups, you have political groups, gay rights, feminists, and so on. And all these groups avoid certain arguments so that they may look good. They have commonalities and common interest and vested interest with every other legitimate, quote-unquote, group in society. And this includes covering up African martial arts achievement. Africa is a continent that historically was dominated by patriarchal societies that are run by the most masculine and the most profoundly spiritual, and there's no authentic counter argument for this irrefutable fact. Do you think that some gay Bill Gates looking person ran the Zulu nation? Or perhaps it was a female who united and unified Egypt. Of course, Africa was always dominated by people like the man Obi, Shaka Zulu, Mene, Johannes, and more. Great warriors who would not hesitate to destroy the first sign of dishonest behavior, of sacrilegious behavior, paramount kings who subordinated their people with sacred morality and righteous indignation in their heart, which allowed them to naturally climb the ranks. This is the natural order, and to deviate from it destroys any chance that we have in an honest world order. The opposition view is pretty much every nation that did not end up with a patriarchal society in Ethiopia, which includes my tribes, the Igbos, to a large extent, which perhaps are the most martial arts prone and inclined group of people on the planet, who over the years have surpassed Ethiopia because of her history of deviation and being conquered, which includes the fact that Ethiopia is about 30% Muslim. There are actually more Muslims in Ethiopia than there are Christians, which is probably the reason why they removed the lion carrying the cross from their flag. So now when you look at the opposition argument, right, their argument in reality, not what they state on TV to confuse you to maintain their system, is that people like Chukwuemeka from brain surgeons' families logically have more respect than other races. When you come from the most stigmatized race and you're the son of an immigrant brain surgeon, any argument of eugenic superiority in other races automatically is destroyed. How can one claim to be more intellectually successful than a black immigrant brain surgeon? From the 60s, mind you, not after the way has been paved for decades, but from the 60s. How many of them were there? And I'm not talking about people in secret societies that use their house nigga network, which we all know exists, to gain some kind of superficial post to tell the black community that if I can, why can't you? No, their argument is actually incredibly stupid as they stated, and no careful observer misses that very obvious, blatant, and overt fact. What the argument is should we offend ancestors and God and anyone who has passed away with honor? Should we shun those people who are more talented and capable of delivering us from this miserable criminal state? So that those criminals who have weaseled their way into the criminal class and into the groups and demographics of knaves who support them and hold them up, who are the lampstand for the Luciferian flame, so that these fools, these malevolent villains, can continue to control the money, the women, and everything that people assign value to that gives them social status. Who could possibly accept their argument? So it boils down to, do you see clearly, or do you allow yourself to be blinded? Should we do things in a way that supports our martial arts heroes, for example, or should we support the half-ass bitches and the satanic, thoroughly evil, openly satanic fools who have vested interest with the half-ass, let's keep the bitches, safe type of bitches. Let's keep ourselves in the spotlight type of bitches. Now, if you're lost, well, let's define clear. Because if we're going to say that someone is mentally ill, certainly it starts with the very basic foundation. They are not thinking clearly. How else could we say that they should take drugs? That they should submit themselves to expert opinions of people who have an adverse philosophy to theirs? Obviously their philosophy and their right to pursue happiness and their religious freedoms are being infringed upon by another group of people that wishes to drug them if they do not wish to take drugs. It's a no-brainer. So let's start with the definition of clear, something that every man from every faith can appreciate, right? I even put it in a way that every man from every faith can appreciate. Clear comes from claris, clear, bright, akin to calere, to call. Remember, authoritative utterance, Egyptian mythology, right? Bright, luminous, cloudless, free from mist, haze, or dust, untroubled, serene. Clean, pure, free from blemishes, easily seen, transparent. Transparent. Doesn't that automatically kind of reduce the secret society's argument that they're thinking clearly? Your thinking is obscured, purposely so. And that by itself is the action of a coward who is not thinking clearly. Thus, the argument Jesus made, I walk in the light. Okay? To make a long story short, I don't know why I can't find it here, but it also comes from the root word wisan, to know, videre, to see. So to think clearly is also to know or to see. All right? Free from You know what? I wrote this down the other day, and they're making it hard for me. Piece of shit society we live in. Basically, the definition of clear proves my fucking point beyond any doubt. To clear somebody's name, to think clearly, to see, transparent, light flows through, you're clear. Okay? Let's go back to Godspeed, light speed. 200 miles per hour, the fastest animal. On the Narmer palette, the people who aren't thinking clearly on purpose. Because once you become complicit with a system that demands you to play stupid, you purposely put yourself in a state of mind where you don't think clearly. And I think we can all agree that practice tends to make more perfect, if not perfect. So therefore, you're becoming someone who is practicing the art of not thinking clearly, and you're getting closer and closer to perfect over time. And then you're breeding with people who see it the same way. So you're a bunch of deluded, clouded, right? Opposite of clearly. Your judgment is clouded, and purposely so. Now we look at pictures of prison gang members, thugs, and Nazis with their shirt off, flexing. It is reminiscent of MMA fighters weighing in or flexing for their fans. You think about Ip Man too, where he takes on that boxer who's aggressive. He's a knucklehead. Okay, he represents America or some Western nation in the movie. Now compare that to Ip Man and myself. You see the difference One of them is a knucklehead, America, who doesn't think clearly. Their judgment is clouded, and purposely so, by the social controllers of their culture, if you will. All right. So once you start talking about to know in the archaic sense, okay, you can see how this connects to reproduction, obviously. So when we talk about the Trojan War, the most famous character of the Trojan War isn't Paris or Memnon. Most people don't even know Memnon was an Ethiopian king who was in the Trojan War. I didn't know till not too long ago. It is actually Achilles, the warrior. Naturally, we gravitate to the warrior. Who has the pull in society more than the war hero to unite the land? This is the natural order. This is the fair or natural reproductive system, thus the term pharaoh. But then it boils down to infrastructure, right? That goes back to courtship, mating, right? The ship mate, courtship. We can go on and on about that and how pirates skull and bones, right? I'm going to she gave me dome, she gave me head or skull, and I stuck her, with my bone. And that goes back to war brides, pirates, sea people, Vikings, Spanish Armada, English Empire, navies, war brides, Navy SEALs, to seal something, to shut it, to shut someone up, to shut a system down and replace it with your unnatural pirate, ignominious system, which is quite depraved and belittling, to say the least. Now, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. Basically, God speed, light speed, hawk speed, strategy speed, physical contact, coordinating, channeling, okay, directing, conveying, transmitting, articulating, martial arts, marshalling. And I went over how experts, quote unquote, define social norms in colleges after they do these ridiculous studies, which consist of everyone from the opposition view and not a single honest person, and certainly not a natural leader or a martial artist or a spirit warrior. Our society is void of these people. I am the last one left. And when we really look at it, who has thousands of videos on the internet trying to do the right thing? When it boils down to honor and heart as the seat of intelligence, honor, authoritative utterance versus someone with a complex screaming, I should be in charge, I should be in charge, order, order. Think about it. What we have is a bunch of feminists, a bunch of gays, a bunch of big bloated hippos, a bunch of white supremacists, a bunch of prison gangs, a bunch of knucklehead cops and military, and people who are assigned roles as social controllers, who are looking for deviant behavior. And above all, they are looking for the martial arts argument from the African perspective. We live in a society that is so ridiculously insane that people think the foundational, the original, the first gods were gender neutral or some kind of bitch-made gods. Why do you think men are stronger than women naturally? Thousands of years of men expressing spiritual dominance over women gave them physical strength. As soon as you go into the Iron Age or technology or gunpowder, now you've drifted away from natural spiritual supremacy into bitch shit. It is impossible for it to be any other way. If there is one thing that is impossible, it is for anyone to be superior to the African martial artists who marshaled society and civilized man naturally. That is impossible. Everything else perhaps is possible. And that is about on the same level of God. Who most embodies God and who most embodies the trickster. That's why we live in a satanic, occult, crony capitalism, trickster, malevolent, pedophile, criminal, homosexual, feminist, and all the liars and all the cowards have teamed up so that though the natural leaders cannot take their rightful place. Those who think clearly and focus energy effectively. You have to think clearly to outmaneuver others. Martial arts is the sparring, spirit is the art of determining who thinks the most clearly. Therefore, they should be in charge. If I have to balance, think about muscle memory and how that relates to focus. If I can balance this long, tall body over your short one and still outmaneuver you and strike you first, my brain, my soul, my spirit is more powerful. I think more clearly. I should be in charge. You are fucking a coward, a pussy, and you should die if you don't see it that way.